Hello again and welcome to Classical Gas, lesson number 8. Last time in lesson 7, I forgot to tell you to write in the arpeggio with the backward rake. So let's do that now. I want you to X out all the notes shown in bars 86, 87, and 88. Get them all X'd out. Then use the empty space to the right in bar 87. I want you to put an O on the 5th string for 5th string open. Then above that put a 2 on the 3rd string, then a 3 on the 2nd string, and a 0 on the 1st string. Then place a squiggly arrow pointing up in front of all this, just before it. That indicates an arpeggio. Now, after you've put the 0 on the 1st string, I want you to put a 3 on the 2nd string coming down, and a 2 on the 3rd string, and a 3 on the 4th string. And then I want you to place a straight arrow, not a squiggly arrow, but a straight arrow pointing down. That indicates the backward rake. Now that we're done with that, we're going to start with bars 89 through 94. You've really already learned these bars in lesson 2, so we won't spend much time there. And we're going to play this run 2 times. And you should already be familiar with it. It's really slowly. So basically we play that run 2 times, and then we're going to start up the fingerboard again. Now when we go up the fretboard this time, we're going to do it earlier than we did it the first time. And we're going to play it exactly the same way that we did it the second time. Remember I told you that there was a 1, 2, 3 feel to the first time you go up the fingerboard, and then there's a 1, 2 sound or feel to it as you go up the second time. The first time was that we did it, had that 1, 2, 3 sound. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But this time it's going to have that 1, 2 feel that it had the second time. But we're going to start earlier. Back in bars 75, 76, and 77 is when we did it the second time. If you will look at bars 101, 102, and 103 in your power tab and compare them to bars 75, 76, and 77, you'll see that starting in bar 101, there's almost always 2 notes being played at the same time for the top strings. Kind of like this. Mason Williams doesn't play it that way. He plays it exactly the way he played it in bars 75, 76, and 77. And what's funny about this, these double notes on the top strings, it's not in any of the official sheet music ever published. It's particularly not in the 1972 Guitar Player magazine article, which is an authorized reprint of Mason Williams' Guitar Pieces book. And by the way, that's considered one of the best transcriptions for handmade ever authorized by Mason Williams. So this never shows up until it shows up in the 92 songbook, some 30 years after Mason Williams played handmade. And of course it shows up in the power tab because that's a copy pretty much of the songbook. It doesn't show up in any of the transcription software for his recordings or in the CD that came with the book. So we have to say it never happened. And why it shows up in this 92 book or in the power tab to that book, I have no idea. We're going to play it the way that he played it in handmade, and that's now. Notice that when we get up to this point, the very next thing, instead of going through all those 5th fret bars, is we're going to do 1 chord. Now we're going to hold that same position. You don't have to have your second finger here, but it's a good place to park it. But we're going to duplicate this chord 3 different times. We're going to do it once at the 5th fret, we're going to do it once at the 3rd fret, and we're going to do it once at the 1st fret. So when we get to this point, one of the things that has always baffled me is that every publication, every transcription, every set of tabs or sheet music always shows that the last notes played in Handmade is an arpeggio of the A chord, which would sound like this. Anyone that's ever listened to it can really hear that it's actually, there's a pull-off with your pinky finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, and then you put your pinky finger back down and pluck the note. We want to write that in, but it's funny that nobody's ever heard it. The very next time you listen to Classical Gas, listen to how clear that there's a pull-off and then the note is played. So we want to write that in. And what that's going to look like is, I want you to put a 2 on the 4th string, a 2 on the 3rd string, a 2 on the 2nd string, then I want you to put, off to the right, a 0 on the 2nd string, and then a 2 again on the 2nd string. And a little curved line between the 2 and the 0, which indicates the pull-off. So that's really all there is to Classical Gas. I hope you put in your time to learn it, because that's really all it takes, is putting in your time. And then I hope you play it now and again, maybe once a week or more, because if you don't play it, you will lose it. I've lost it a few times myself over many, many years, to where I almost had to start over. But the one thing I can tell you about Classical Gas, if you're sitting somewhere with friends who know something about guitar, and you reach up into that A minor position, and you start by that time, everybody knows what they think you're going to do. They think you're going to play it, and it'll stop people, and they'll turn around to see if you're really going to do this or not. Anyway, thank you for watching this.